I love Robin Williams. Don't we all? I think of him as my guru. And among his most iconic movies and most memorable lines is the carpe diem call from Dead Poets Society. Seize the day, make your lives extraordinary. I love the lines. But seriously, extraordinary? As a doctor and as a professor in a medical school at the age of 56, things were starting to seem a little ordinary. Gradually, everything seemed to be winding down into a been there, done that kind of mechanical conveyor belt that was looping towards inevitable retirement. What is euphemistically termed as a midlife crisis. When you know your hair is becoming thin and everything else is not. When you finally manage to put your head together and your body starts to fall apart. When the only thing humorous in you is a bone. That age, when you start to ask yourself existential questions. What is the meaning of life? Questions which have no answers. Just when I was beginning to wallow in this comfortable cesspool of self-pity, improv comedy and performances help to resuscitate the excitement in my life and help me to seize the moment, if not the day. The principles of improv, I realized, are literally the principles of living life fully. And if you were to hone these skills, then they can give a kickstart to life. Whether you are an angst-filled teenager wondering what career to choose, or a bored housewife getting really tired of the endless routine of daily life, or a busy, successful professional who's on the verge of a disastrous burnout. Have you ever felt like you've reached a dead end? Improv, whether as a game, as an art form, as a hobby, or as a profession, can help to turn things right around and bring life back into living. What is improv? Improv or improvisational comedy is unscripted and unplanned. A lot like life. I mean, you don't wake up in the morning and think, what lines am I going to say to the people that I meet today? It just happens in the moment, on the spot. Unlike a theatrical performance or a stand-up comedy, in improv, there is no script to follow, there are no lines to learn, and are definitely no rehearsals to nudge you towards perfection. So if a play, for example, is like a predictable train ride with a timetable of stations and stops leading to a fixed destination, then improv is like a wild, crazy roller coaster ride with lots of twists and turns, completely and totally unpredictable. So join me on this ride as we go through the cardinal principles of improv and try to see how they can help us to live a better life. The first principle that any improv trainer teaches us is called yes-anding. Not just saying yes, but saying yes and adding something of your own. For those who've not done improv, this can sound rather abstract. So we've set up improv exercises based on suggestions that you made at the registration counter. So the question that was asked to the audience was, something that you like to eat or drink. We have a very good audience with a great sense of humor. So the suggestion for the question, something that you like to eat or drink, and I've got the answer, weed. In the spirit of improv, we shall go with that. Something that you like to smoke. Okay, something that you like to eat or drink, weed. If I was the improviser starting the scene with this suggestion, I would go, Sheila, thank you for sharing your recipe for space pancakes with me. And if my co-improviser said, I'm not Sheila, I'm Andrew. That's not a space cake. That's a cigar, and I don't even know how to smoke. That would be the exact opposite of yes-anding. The co-improviser has denied the scene, has denied the environment, and has denied the characters. Not Sheila, not a girl, not space cakes, and we don't even know how to smoke. Let's try the scene again, but use the principle of yes-anding. Sheila, thank you for sharing your recipe for space cakes with me. That's okay, boss, but do you think now the rest of the office will know why I'm getting such good appraisals? We've accepted the scene and we've added something of our own. Yes-anding. The beauty of yes-anding is acceptance. And the tragedy of most of our situations in life is a refusal to accept. So this cardinal principle of improv teaches us to accept whatever life has to offer and to add value to it. The second principle of improv seems like a very basic one, listening. But many improv trainers think that this is the single principle of improv. Listening? If you've been for an improv show, it doesn't look like anyone is listening. It looks like everyone is coming up with sharp, witty one-liners, which is happening even while the other person is talking. That's not actually true. Because for improv to happen, you have to have active listening. And by active listening, I don't mean only listening to the words, but you also have to listen to the facial expressions, the hand movements, the total physicality or the body language. Again, abstract. Let's try to illustrate it with a suggestion from the audience. The question asked to the audience was something that you find in a lady's handbag. And I've got mirror. If I was beginning the scene and I went, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Now, the allusion is obviously to the fairy tale that's already been mentioned by the first speaker. The allusion is to Snow White and the wicked stepmother. But if the co-improviser was listening carefully, they would understand that it could be taken in a more modern context. Let's see how it can go. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? I know, I've been using the same cream for 2 months now. It doesn't change anything, man. It's just not fair. So you see how listening can help you to take the situation into a more modern context and to discuss the Indian obsession with fairness creams or body image problems, dysmorphophobia, and so on. Listening. It's such an important life skill. And once I incorporated it in my life, I found that conversations were not like old black and white movies. They started acquiring shades, not 50 Shades of Grey, more warm, vivid colors. Listening is the single important improv principle that everyone should practice. The third principle of improv is a very obvious one. Trust and teamwork. I told you that earlier that improv is not a solo act like stand-up comedy. It involves a team. And the best part of being in a team is helping your partner to look good. Trust, teamwork, helping your partner to look good. Let's see if you can demonstrate this with a suggestion from the audience. The third question asked to the audience was an offbeat or unusual occupation. And the one I've got here is marriage counselor. If I'm working with my normal team, then they know that I have some stock characters. They know that I have some strengths. So if my co-improviser were to start the scene, she could probably go like this. Oh my God, doctor, you have to help me, Dr. Appukutan. See, I'm not able to, I don't think I can sustain my marriage. And as expected by her, I would jump into the scene and say, hello, hello, hello. You know me, eh? Dr. Appukutan Nair. Everyone comes to me for advice on everything. Whether it is romance or recipes, politics or potholes, marriage or migraine. Appukutan doctor's advice never fails. The co-improviser has actually set the scene up for me to perform a stock character. If the suggestion was dance instructor, and I knew one of my teammates was very good at moonwalking, I could incorporate that into the scene. The important part of teamwork is helping your co-improviser to look good. It's important to have talent. Talent is wonderful. But more important than that is to have discipline. It's been said that talent without discipline is like an octopus on roller skates. There's plenty of movement, but you don't know whether it's forwards, or backwards, or sideways. Uncoordinated movement. It's a disaster in improv and it's a disaster in life, whereas trust and coordinated teamwork are the foundations of improv and the foundations of any healthy human interaction. The fourth principle of improv was a very difficult one for me. Let go and think out of the box. Think outside your comfort zone and act outside your comfort zone. Be a little silly and weird. That was a tough one because life and the world likes to compartmentalize you. Doctors are serious people. Doctors don't laugh much. Doctors don't do anything else. This is the box. Improv demolishes the box and helps your mind explore the extraordinary. In fact, improv is the art of making something extraordinary out of the ordinary. Let's see if we can do that with a suggestion from the audience. Oh my God, there's a lot here. The question asked to the audience was a common relationship. And the one I've got over here is father and son. Now, father and son sets itself up for several common situations. Father and son could be a father reprimanding his son because his grades are not good, or a son fighting with his father over the property. Let's take a giant leap out of the box. If my co-improviser were to enter the scene as my son and go, "What is it, Pa? I'm really getting late for office. Tell me, I have no time to waste." And I go, rushing all the time. Spend some time with me, no, Subramanyam. I want you to teach me something. Tell me how to hook up with someone on Tinder. Now that is a giant leap out of the box. A lonely, aging father who's trying to use technology to make new friends. Sometimes we box ourselves in based on a predictable routine that we've set up for ourselves, which leaches every ounce of excitement out of our lives. So surprise yourself. Surprise the world around you. Be a little silly and weird. And most important, don't take yourself too seriously. Because as my improv guru said, you're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it. The final rule of improv. The final rule of improv is the one that I enjoy the most. There are no rules. Yes, you heard it right. There are no rules and there are no mistakes. After 50 odd years of living by the rule book, this was the principle that I found most liberating. There are no rules, no mistakes. Improv destroyed the fear of failure. Failure is good. Failure is celebrated. Failure is where the magic happens. Because that's what happens in real life, right? We make mistakes, we fail, and we create from failure. If we stumble, we make it part of the dance. This part of improv was so wonderful and liberating for me because I realized that even though we make mistakes and we fail, and in a world that only applauds success, improv helped me to accept and enjoy failure. The more I performed at improv, the more I realized that the rules of good improv are the rules of good, contented, happy, meaningful living. Yes-anding and acceptance, listening and staying focused in the moment, trust and teamwork, letting go and thinking outside the box, letting go of stereotypes, and finally, realizing that there are no rules and no mistakes and learning to celebrate failure. Carpe diem is a war cry. It invokes the sleeping giant in you, much like the principles of improv, and pushes you to shed your inhibitions, pick up some courage, and grab every opportunity that comes your way. Because as was said in Dead Poets Society, medicine, business, law, engineering, these are all noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. So stay alive, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are and whatever life is offering you. Seize the day and make your lives memorable.